Here we are. Uh-oh, there's a problem with Elena. I send her an invitation. Okay. Okay. Welcome to everybody. My greetings to all the project partners and here present, and I hope my colleague Elena will be able to join us again. And my name is Stefano Cobello. For those who didn't attend the other previous meetings and just joining us, this is the third meeting we have, and today we will talk about kind of peculiarity and deep aspects concerning the psychosocial dynamics into bullying. And this is a training course organized within a European Erasmus Plus project. I'm sorry, Mariam, can you start? I tried to solve a problem with Elena, okay?
Okay, yes, in this, today we are going to go deeper into a module that is named Introduction to Bullying and its Psychosocial Dynamics. We are going to talk about different very important topics to have in mind, to be aware of when we are at the school, and we are going to start explaining also why facing bullying is an important thing to do, why it matters. We will also describe the socio-ecological framework. We will approach to this phenomena from a socio-ecological framework approach. Then we will offer you some definitions of bullying. One of them is the one that belongs from the European Commission, but there are another ones. During the presentation, there are some videos, but I think you can watch them from the presentation you will have available on the website, because there are some that are short. Maybe we can watch some of them, but I think it's interesting once you have listened this module today, to have a look to that, because it will be helpful to enlarge the information you have or the approach or that kind of things. And later we will explain detailed about the roles. You will have a very good and detailed approach in the roles that will mainly Elena will do. That she's a psychotherapist, but not only, she has a very large experience working on this topic with children also. And then to nearly finalize the module, we are going to talk about the risk factors. We will see on the socio-ecological framework that this is not an individual phenomena, but there are also research about existing risk factors that affect either the individual, but also the family, the group, and the school, and so on.
Okay. Okay.
This is a shared module between we, Spain, and Italy.
Okay. Just a moment. I'm trying to solve the problem. Mariam, can you share your screen?
Yes.
I make you co-host so I can solve Eleanor.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, perfect.
Yes.
Okay. Then do we start, Stefano, or do we wait for a moment for Millie? You are mute. Okay, I think we start. Before starting, I will ask you all of you to mute your microphone. You can ask whatever you need, but while you are not talking, please mute your microphone. Are you seeing my screen? Because I cannot. Okay, now. This
yes,
is the
yes.
Okay, now, because my computer was a bit blocked. This is the table of content I started to talk to you about. This. So you can have the schema of what we are going to talk about during today. This picture, I choose it because because it's a robot and because it has head. So have in your mind that this training course is about robotics versus bullying. Just for that, mind that. Okay, the first point to start with, we thought it was very important to wonder why it's important, why facing bullying matters. James Dillon, that was a principal in a school in New York, make a program in order to promote or to stop bullying and to promote peace in the bus to school in the year 2004. And the issue was he wants to prevent and reduce bullying during that period while the children were on the bus. And after that, the program was implemented in other schools in the country, in US. After that, Dillon started to organize training courses with teachers and families and different target groups. And to all of them, he asked who they thought it was the most responsible for addressing school violence and bullying. And it was very important. I would like to highlight, I think it was a very important point that from all the answers from all the target groups, all of them, they always thought that bullying prevention was always someone else's responsibility. And I think this is a very good point to start to reflect about. Because it's true that no one is to blame. It's not an individual phenomenon. It's no a specific school phenomena, but we all are responsible for facing it. We can prevent, we can face, we can do something. So we think we all can work on preventing bullying, because once the bullying is started, it's not easy to fight against and to solve that, but we have tools and strategies for preventing it. And we also need, it's also about a culture change, which takes time. Takes time to take responsibility on the phenomena, and also takes time to change our culture, how we understand it, because it's not a dyadic relationship between the bully and the victim. It's more than that. So this is the first message I would like to make very strong. No one is to blame, but everyone is responsible to do something about. Other reason very important to face bullying at the school, in this case, because we are talking about that, is because of the effect it has on children's mental health. We have the opportunity, also the privilege, I think, of being working with children and with teenagers. And I think the childhood is one of the most important stages in life, And when a child either suffers or makes bullying, also for the bystanders, the effect is significant negative for their mental health. And it, of course, have also a negative, it's as a cascade effect on their quality of life and the academic achievement. So this is a very strong reason to face bullying, why it matters. Also because children that are frequently bullied are nearly 3 times more likely than the ones that do not suffer it to get out from school. And they are twice to miss school, to miss lessons than those who never or who do not suffer bully frequently. So this is another reason why facing bullying matters, because they have the opportunity of being educated and having knowledge and develop their personality. And if they have the fight in the school, they are more likely to get out from school. And also because they have worse educational results or outcomes than their peers. And this is the reason for what many of them finish to leaving formal education after finishing secondary schools, but in some of the cases, this is an important case even before the secondary school. We took from a report made by UNESCO on a couple of years ago, some data on of the incidence of bullying in the world. We took this report because it includes a wide range of qualitative and quantitative source of information, and also include interviews and surveys and also literature review in many countries. I think it was about 144 countries and regional territories along the world that were analyzed. And on the report, the numbers, the data is that the phenomena affects 1 in 3 students, which is a very high percentage of students affected. A third of them are between the age 8 and 24, but most of them are on the age from 8 to 15, the starting point, even before. And 1/3 of them report they have been psychologically bullied by peers at the school at least once a month. That is not it's not little time to be bullied. Once a month is a lot of time. And the similar proportion they report to have suffered physical violence, physical bullying. Another data that appear on this report expose that some of the victims is children who are perceived as different. They are for different reasons. It can be the race, it can be the disability, it can be some physical tip or a way of talking, or it can be, we will see later, some reasons why you can be bullied, why they think they were bullied. Also, another very huge frequent cause of bullying is the physical appearance, and the second reasons were quite more or less at the same level, was the race, nationality, and color of the skin. Oh yes, mira, this, as I told you, the report was made in a wide range of countries and regional territories, and there were the data that are the same that we saw on different research some years before, but this is one of the latest, biggest reports. And I think we can start on explaining this framework from which we have decided to approach to the phenomenon of bullying. As I told you, the research in all these years since the bullying is being studied, have find some factors contributing to bullying and also to victimization, either with the individual or the family or the group at the school or at the community. But all the approach are limited. So the researchers think it's better to approach to the school bullying phenomena from a socio-ecological framework. So the socio-ecological theory is not new. I think most of you will know about Bronfenbruner, that he established the socio-ecological theory, and we will see the graphic on the slide afterward, this one that is very famous. Most of you will know about that. And he established that human development is a bidirectional interaction between individuals, but also the systems on which they live. Can be the family, the neighborhood, the school, the community, and the society, and other environments. This is the graphic I talked you about on the school bullying phenomena. There is a child that is the individual, but as you see, the arrows are always bidirectional with everything, either the microsystem, that is the system that is near the individual, that includes a school, the family, peers, neighborhood, and so on, and the mesosystem that includes maybe some politics related to facing bullying at the school, or this is the mesosystem. And the exosystem after that, it's not used to be the closest system to the individual, but it also affects because it includes, as we see on the data from UNESCO, the different race and culture is one of the reasons children feel they are bullied.
Can I say something, Mariam,
yes,
about it? Okay, this system shows very well the interaction between systems. And of course, the center is the child only because he has a perspective of the world outside, but how much the world outside influenced him. And every pressure that comes from outside is, as you notice, very much bigger than the identity he's trying to set up and growing up by himself. So any interaction is an interaction like a tsunami coming to the child. It's much bigger because, first of all, it's multi-directional. Second, it's multi-dialoguing with different systems and different rules. And for a child, this is quite difficult. This is one of the reasons why the child affected by bullying doesn't ask for help, because the system are communicating in totally different ways from all the different perspectives. And it cannot find yet, especially at early age, how to interact and to create a connection with this system. Let's imagine family and school, they are totally separated environment, totally separated. First of all, the family is, it can be a secure place, a protection place, or it can be a place of difficulties. But the school is a multidimensional place made by rules, made by the teacher, made by the mates, made by different classes, different ages of mates. And so it's already a multidimensional environment. If you had health service, head director, religious organization, daycare facility, neighbors, playground, and peers outside the school, you can imagine how all those environments are difficult to connect themselves with the growing up of the identity. And the more you move out, that's the second circle, mesosystem, which is an intercorrelation system, and connecting with the third level, which is even much more difficult because it's the adult level. It's not for child, but impacting on the child identity, mass media, parents, economic situation, or psychological situation, ecosystem, family and neighbors, and school board, and so on. And the more you get wider and wider, and he doesn't really, he cannot recognize those systems, but he feels something behind. This is one of very interesting Brenner ecological system. I would call it psychosocial ecological system because it really helps children to create their own identity. And there is no guidelines for that. Some schools, they are trying for bullying to create some guidelines. We think that legislation and laws are effective, they exist, but how to decline those laws and those guidelines to children, coming from the children perspective, that everything outside their own family environment is getting more and more difficult, especially when it's dealing a problem. And we've never been thinking how a child is imagining to solve a problem. And this is one of the men, the growing up of personality explanation. And this is why a person, a victim of bullying, very often doesn't rely on anyone and doesn't communicate it to anyone. Thank you, Mariam. You can go forward. I like very much this scheme. And this is
and here is the same, but the one on the left side is better. It's much complex, and it reflects the real phenomenon, I think.
There's another point very much to underline. What does it mean, communication? Because those are communicating systems. Their arrows shows communication. They're naturally communicating because they are affected into system ruling systems. But the child doesn't know the rules and the ruling system. Is just trying to know them and to find a way to move through the systems. But communicate means something else. The system outside, they communicate very well to each other because they're affected by rules. But the child in itself doesn't communicate. That's the problem. That's very interesting. The audience support, oppose classmates and teacher into the circle. Can go forward.
Yes.
It's very clear.
And then there is another approach that is not it's not one or the other, but I think it complements that graphic we see before, and is the diathesis stress dual risk model. It explains that the highest is the vulnerability of the individual, the less stress it's need to trigger the behavior of the bullying or whatever we are talking about. So they talk about stress, vulnerability, and protective factors, also risk factors. And it's also a socio-ecological model to understand the dynamic and impact. It's very much related with the circle we have seen, because this graphic recognizes the fluid, is the dynamic between the dynamic in bullying and the consequences for the victim, for the bullying, also for the bystanders, because they, yes, it is what I talk about, the vulnerability, because this model, this last, talks about the bullying as a stressful life event. So all students involved on the phenomena will be catalyzed for this model. So the most vulnerable factors they will have, it can be familiar or even genetic, the less stress they will need to trigger the behavior of the stress or the dangerous situation for their mental health or for their welfare. So it's very important to promote healthy social relationships. It's effective for bullying prevention and also intervention when once the situation is established in the school or in the classroom, to take account of the complexity, not only of the situation, but on the human experience of we as human beings, and taking into account also the individual characteristics, but also the history behind the bullying. So it's important to talk about risk and protective factors.
One of the main factors that we are dealing in the socio-economic framework approach, and I'm anticipating what Elena Milli will say probably, is concerning what we call special needs, what we call learning difficulties, what we call disabilities, what we call like dyslexic, dyscalculic, and so on. And thank you, Maria. And those diversities from the so-called mainstream are attracting attention. One of the focus points that when a child is already under stress for familial problems, unprotected or personal identity problems, then he tries to attract attention to compensate. And one of the things that he's doing is just to underline continuously, directly, indirectly, even by body language or spoken language or physical language, the diversity of another person naturally attracting attention by the adults in the classroom and outside. What does it mean? The child is not able to recognize the situation he's living in, and is not able to recognize why another child, another mate, is attracting more attention. Yes, something that is missing by the adults. He sees only the differences as a minus into the system. And this factor of, it's very important, the individual resilience, because the resilience is the, very simplifying, the capacity to stand pain, to stand suffering for something. And we have been analyzing many times why there are bullier and victims. And sometimes both of them are totally unaware of what's going on and what's happening. But one of the main things is that the adult has huge responsibility, all of them, because especially in the early age when the bullying is starting, the bullying attitude, the main factor, as demonstrated in many schools, is the environment. Every child is looking for love, affection, attention, caresses, and benevolence, protection. This is a natural process. Whenever he sees someone who gets it naturally, for any other reason, probably because he has special needs and so on, a kind of emotional competition, of appropriation of this love is enhancing and growing up, and takes this child to affect directly on the other mate who is receiving affection. And the very interesting thing is that the teacher's reaction, instead of sharing affection and love even to the other child, is punishing the other child and increasing the level of frustration, because instead of getting more attention, they get less attention or negative attention. This is negative environment. So I want to give some hints now to teachers that when a child is affecting bullying, it's because he needs more attention and love. And when a teacher immediately, and we have studied in some projects, impact on this attitude, remarking or correcting, or even with some reaction like a note for family and so on, or reprobing this act, he enhanced the level of aggressivity and frustration, and he doesn't solve, or she doesn't solve the problem at all. This is very important to focus this point. And both are vulnerable. One by nature, because he has some learning difficulties. The other one, because he feels that he's missing something that is given more to someone else. But in 90% of the cases, everything is just a need to be protected, to be feel not so vulnerable in both cases, especially in the bullier. We've been working a lot on bullier. That's why it came out in this project, but not as a punishment, as a criminal, or well, an act to underline and to focus to regret with, but the reason of the bullying. We are working for prevention. Thank you very much. Very, very interesting graphic, Mariam.
Yes, and this is the framework from which we approach to the bullying. And now, as we advanced you at the beginning, we are going to offer you some definition of bullying.
Cavo se lo può, ma cosa ci aspettate?
Please.
Okay, thank you. The Council of Europe promotes whole school human rights, citizenship, and educational programs to tackle with bullying and violence in the school. And these citizenship programs are based on the Council of Europe Charter on Education for Democratic Citizenship and Human Rights. And it's from there, we took the definition. You can read that bullying is an unwanted and aggressive behavior among school-aged children that involves a real or perceived power imbalance. The behavior is repeated, that is an important point, that is common on the different definitions, or has the potential to be repeated over time. Both kids who are bullied and who bully others may have serious, lasting problems. Bullying might include physical violence, sexual violence, threats, teasing, social exclusion, or other kind of psychological violence. On the link, you will have these programs the Council of Europe promotes for tackling bullying and violence at the school. So I very much invite you to click on it once you have the presentation.
Go forward.
Yes, and there is also a very interesting film, I think it's about 10 minutes or something like that, that demonstrate how harmful are the effects of bullying in a child-friendly manner. It's some video you can use at the school with the classroom if you want to talk about this topic. So we added here for you to have some resources. Another definition is proposed by Jones and Forsberg in different years, but it's the same idea. Bullying is unique and complex form of interpersonal aggression, which takes many forms, as also said the definition before, serves different functions and is demonstrated in varying relationship patterns. As we talked you on the socio-psychological framework, it's not just a dyadic problem between a bully and a victim, but it's a group phenomenon. It happens in social contexts, and there are factors that promote or maintain, or others that can suppress the behavior, as Stefano talked to. If the teacher, for example, intervenes and since the very beginning, and it can happen that the situation finishes.
Mariam, I not totally agree with that. And it can be also group contest, but in every group, there are different roles played by the persons. And the aggregation of the role is always a question of leadership. To drag or attract attention, the bullier is behaving in order to attract the weakest member of a group to be stronger with him, and this way to be aggressive. But there is always a leadership. There is always one person who needs more the other to be at the center of attention, and he finds, we call it negative leadership, and there is also positive leadership in a group. This negative leadership, and when you focus in such a way, and that's why the definition are quite updated, and when you focus in such a way, you focus on the group, but the group is made by individuals. If you touch the group, they cover themselves into a group. This is why the reason of a group. But it is made always by one or two main actors leading the other stores. In one case, I give an example. I enter in my classroom and I found two boys taking another boy, one observing and another one smashing the head on the wall of the maid. And who was the leader? The one smashing. That was the leader, the acting. The other felt safe because it was acting. They were feeling strong, like member of doing something together. And the victim when I ask, come on, stop, let's go to the principal and discuss with him. The victim said, no, they didn't do anything wrong. He was trying to protect himself because he was afraid afterwards coming back to be more victim. And one of the things that we are working in Roby project is just to create positive group dynamics, even with the bullier. Because if you take a bullier into a positive group, slowly by slowly in the dynamics of positive activities, it decreases the aggressivity and he loses all the aggressivity because he feels protected by the group. This is very interesting. And well, social contests should be more, should pay more attention on how not, especially with children, bullier, very young bullier, how to deal with them and not to punish them. One of the main projects that did the school was set up free the bullier. They saw the group, a bullier like a prisoner, alone, feeling loneliness. Children, they were individualizing, they were indicating exactly which is the main problem of the origin of the bullier. Thank you, Mariam.
And then this is not, of course, there is not only one definition from bully, and here there are some factors that are common to the different definitions we have made in the research. Bullying is mistreatment between equals, repeated over time, with the intention of causing harm for whatever reason, and in which the victim is in a situation of inferiority, respecting the aggressor or aggressor. So for it to be bullying, research said it must be repeated, intentional, and there must be an imbalance in the relationship. It's often that the victim has less physical or mental strength than the bully. These are the three elements that are repeated on the different definitions. And here there is another link where you can see some examples. This is a short one, but I invite you to watch after that. And I don't know if Millie is there.
Yes,
I'm going to invite Millie to explain this because yes, she's going to do
something that's been. Before starting, Millie, Maria, could you give me the to me the permission, host permission,
Oh, yes.
please, because I gave it to you because we managed something else. Okay. Okay, done. Can I, Millie, do you want to share your screen, or should I share me the slides?
If you can continue, so
can you speak
Marian,
louder?
you to share.
Okay, I continue. I continue me then. Let me find F5. Let's go forward very quickly. Come on, very quickly. Finish bullying. Okay.
Great, perfect. So as Marian said, bullying is a very
Elena, let me introduce you very shortly.
Okay.
Elena, she's a psychotherapist and a familiar psychotherapist. That's why we are asking to Elena Milli to intervene. She's been working and keeping on a lot of conferences on the topics. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. As we were saying, bullying is a very complex phenomenon. It's not just a matter of two persons, victim and bully, but as we're discussing, there are also the group, the society, and the other members that are around these two persons. So we identify three main roles that we can observe in a bullying situation. The two most important, the two that we can see more easily is the victim and the bully. And the other one is the bystanders. Sometimes it's not that easy to identify who exactly is the bully or who exactly are the bystanders. But because the roles are changing in this, we call it continuum in this interpersonal relationship. Because, for example, one of the boys that is maybe bullying someone in the next day is the one that is a bystander, cheering up for another bullying that is beating someone else. Or the same child is a bully at the school and a victim at home. So we need to open our attention, to widen our attention to the whole peer group, but I will also include, as we said in the ecological framework, the whole society, the whole community that is moving around those two, around this situation. So it's not just the class, it's the whole environment in the school. Okay, you can go forward, yes. So as I said, there can be different, the same child can be both a bully or a victim at school and a bully at home with the siblings. Why we call it a group situation, why we enlarge our view to the whole group? Because sometimes bullying or the situation is something participating to a bullying situation, makes someone part of a group, is feeling the pressure of being part of a group. But what kind of a group is that? Is a group based on violence? Is a group based on the imbalance of power, as we see from the definition of bullying? And a reflection that we can make on that is why are even young children reproducing this kind of violence? We think that is also for, can you go back, Stefano, please? So this kind of behavior is led also by what they see around them. So if they see a violent society, they will reenact a violent society within their class. So this part of being the pressure of following this violent behavior can be very demanding or important. Okay, let's focus a bit on the roles. Yeah, let's start for the bully. The bully, we all know who a bully is because we have met for sure a bully in our life. All of us have met it as teacher or also as a student. We have seen it, or maybe we have also been part of that or being victims. We are used to identify the bully as the bad one. So the bad boy or the bad girl that is having this behavior that is violent and is against someone that we consider the victim. But as Stefano was saying before, what is the message behind? Who is the person behind the label of being a bully? So we say we can see psychologically that the bully has a great lack, has a low self-esteem. So he cannot see properly his person as able to do something. So he's responding with violence with that perception of low self-esteem. Can you?
I'm sorry, I'm trying.
Okay.
I don't know what happened. Okay.
Okay. There is the lack of empathy, the anxiety, depression, anger, difficulties in managing emotions. Many times there is this academic failure and the understanding of the academic failure. So they know that they are not competent enough from the academical point of view, the school level. Many times what I see in my experience and working with disadvantaged children coming from difficult, let's say, background and having behavioral problem is that they many times this violence, the violence of the bully, is a learned behavior. It's something that they have learned at home or in the background where they are, where they come from, in the cultural background. It's a learned answer. The violence is a learned answer to the things that they don't know. Sometimes they are confused by external stimuli, by the external situation, and they are not sure on how to answer to them. And the answer is violence, aggression. So there is this lack of social skills to which they answer only with aggression. We have to ask ourselves when we are facing this kind of situation, what is the message behind? So who is the person behind? Who is the person? What are the needs also of the bully, not only of the victim, as Stefano was saying before in his reflection about the victims with the special needs. So many times is the aggressive action of a bully is a request of attention in a not clear way for us, obviously, but it's his way to be part of a group, to take, to bring a message, to try to be listened. Okay. Sometimes one other thing about the bully, sometimes it's the one that is behind. So we have to be aware of that. Sometimes it's the one who's manipulating the other on doing things. So the classical example is the queen bee, the girl who's leading another group of girls in having this behavior that is really, it is clearly shown in the picture here in the slide. In that case is, again, a way to ask for attention from the others, but to be loved. That's the way, their way to feel loved by the rest of the group. Okay, the victim. Who is the victim? Sometimes they have similar problems. There are similar psychological traits as the bullying. They also lack social. They also have a lack in the social abilities. They have low self-esteem. They have anxiety. Many times they have other psychological problems. Not to mention when they have actual special need, they are disabled somehow. They are the main characteristic is that they are somehow different. But there are situations in which we don't understand why a child is a victim. Many times it's in their own behavior, in a learned model of behavior that brings them to be the one that is diverse, the one that is not like the others. They have some, we will see later, they have some family background or problems with the parental figures that leads them to be somehow out of the group of the peers. But there is, we have to focus on the two victimization. So there are two victimization. The one is that comes from the external group, that is the one from the society, and the one that is internal. So because the effect of a bullying situation is also to destroy the internal perception of the victim. So the repetition of this behavior, the repetition of this aggression lead also to the victimization, self-victimization, and having the self-perception of a victim. Is the double victimization. There is also another type of victim, that is the one that is provoking the attack. I've met a couple of them in my life, and it's sometimes seen from the outside is quite a weird behavior, because really the boy is, or the girl is provoking, the bullying is provoking the others and receiving this kind of aggression from the rest of the group. The dynamics is the same. Is even in this case and a lack of social skills and the necessity to be seen somehow. Okay, you can go on.
Can I propose something to you, Elena?
Yes.
We analyze bystanders, and then we split the group in small rooms, all the participants, 5, 6 of them, and they share some opinions about it, if you want, for 10 minutes. And then we continue analyzing about the experience they had about bullying and bullying.
Okay, yes, sure. So who are the bystanders? Is the rest of the group. Can you go on? There is a very interesting scheme going on. Because as we said, it is, you can go on. Bullying is a situation that happens in a certain moment, in a certain context, and in a certain time. It's a social behavior, it's a social event. It's not just, there are dynamics that are between the bullying and the victim, but it's what we see is that if there is no social environment around them, it's very unlikely that a bullying act can be. Go on, please.
I'm going on. I don't know why. Okay, sorry.
Okay.
More?
Yes, because there is a very clear. You can read later
This one.
This one, yes. So you can read all the definition and the clear situation and the rest of the slides later on. But this is the circle of the society, of the social environment in a bullying situation. So you have at the center, obviously, the bullied, the victim, and the bully as the one who is starting, who is playing the active part. But as we said, it's not just about those two. So the bully has at his back the follower. He's doing that for a reason. It's a social reason. Is to be loved, is to be considered, is to be seen, is to be part of a group, is to declare his strength and to show that that he has or she has, the power to do that. So the bully needs someone that is reinforcing him, reinforcing this behavior, reinforcing what he or she is doing. And the right hands, so the follower are the backups and the right hands of the bully. Then, please back. Okay. There are the supporters. There are those who are there, maybe considering the modern situation, they will use their phone to take pictures or on the situation, or just supporting somehow the bullying and what is doing, but not actively as the followers. Then we have the passive supporters. Those they are following the situation, they are close to that, they are not taking a step back. And what we see that all these four categories, or the three categories, can likely be bullying again with someone else. So they are assisting a violence, they are assisting this aggression, and they are not seeing that as negative. They are considering that they can somehow be part of that, active or not active, but they are not against it. Continuing on the other side, on the side of the bullied, we have the disengaged, those that prefer not to intervene, because being part of a group is important, and it's better not be involved in these situations. There are passive defenders. They are not taking a part too, because it's if you are asked to them, they are sure that bullying is not a good thing. They are never going to do that, but they are not acting. And then we have the defenders, those that really will act or will try to help somehow the bullied. What happens if these defenders, the passive defenders, and the disengaged, that are really far from the bullying situation, can intervene, can do something, realize that if they just raise their voice, the bully can be stopped, because that's the reality. Since the bully needs an audience, needs a social situation to continue his behavior, to be supported. The change, the prevention to the bullying go through this first part of the bystanders, and then reach the others. And because the empathy is a feeling that all of these persons have and feel, of the children have and feel. So working in prevention is working with the group. Okay.
Maybe I would like to add something. Also, it's important because 80% of the acts of bullying are witnesses by bystanders, but only they act on less than the 20% for many reasons.
Yeah.
Maybe they don't have the strategies, or for the reasons Millie explained you. But it's important that that number, 80% witnesses the bully act, but only less than 20% of the bystanders intervene.
Okay.
So we need to work on that. As you correctly said, they lack the strategies. They don't know what to do, how to do. They don't have enough courage, and they are afraid that they can be part or victims at their own turn. So this is another nice scheme, basically with the same situation, but explaining in another way with other words. You can go on. Okay, so
if you want, we can now give split everyone's in. You are 64. We can have 8 to 10 rooms wherever you can be inside, and you can share your opinion about what you see and which kind of bully and which kind of bystander, how was the bully, how did you probably find some solution. We can give you, it's 6 o'clock, we can give you 15, 20 minutes, then come back and to continue. Okay, let me create 10 rooms, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Open all rooms. Mariam, please, you are still the host. Can you give me the host permission?
Okay. How can I do?
On my picture, right, the mouse,
Okay.
give me host permission. Thank you.
Okay. Done.
Okay, thank you. So I can do it. Okay. Let's see this one. I will join one room with Ahmet. Mariam, you can join any room. I make you co-host now. You can join any room. You're not assigned, but I can assign you to room 5. Okay? You can enter. Okay, I entered this one.
class, so they really like it and they learn a lot, not only to use the robots, but on themes. And also I have an autistic pupils in the classroom, and that works great with him. So it's fantastic.
What age have your children?
How about the rest of
all the participants now are in small rooms, and they are discussing about the roles played by the kids and their own personal experience. They will be back very soon in 5-10 minutes and to join the main room, and we will continue with the slides and explanation. Okay. Nice to see you, Marina, again.
Hello, Marina.
Hi.
Here we are. Okay.
Nice to meet you again, like this,
Welcome back.
all at one place. I hope we will have a chance to meet again, but not online.
No, we
Yeah.
will come to Macedonia, don't worry. Okay, let's continue because we are recording.
Okay.
So,
So are we all
welcome back. I hope you had the time to a little bit discuss about the rules and your experience and what you've seen. And starting from the suggestion we gave you, and this, there was quite an experiment. I hope we can organize it in a proper way next time in order to see in different aspects if you can share more. I give the word to Elena again, and I'll start and I continue with the slides, sharing my screen. Just
can
a
you
second.
go? Okay, can you go to the point 6? That is factors, because we were.
Can you wait a moment, Elena?
Yes, sure.
Point 6 you want?
Yes, because we can then come back to the types of bullying because it's important. Yes.
No, I don't hear you, Elena. Can you speak louder? Here is it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, better.
Okay.
Yeah, that is
Let's
factors.
start.
Because when we speak about the bully or the role of the bully and the victim, we can also identify some risk factors. Is statistic, that's what I want to say, because the statistics, so it's not written in the stone, but these are situations that can more easily lead a child to be a bully or to be a victim. So in case of the bully, is be younger, because we have seen that growing up, the situation of bullying are reducing. Then to be a male, but that we were discussing about that in the breaking room. Female bullier are increasing a lot in the last years. It's something that the teachers are seeing, that it is growing in number, and so it's no longer a male prevalence. Depression, mental health problem, other behavioral and emotional problems, as we said, is not the bully has a low self-esteem and other problems. So we can also have mental health problem. Go on. Low academic results. Usually they try to succeed in life, reaching, finding the power or trying to be someone by using violence or being bullied.
What I don't understand, Elena, is why younger age could be a risk factor. It may induce to be a bully.
That's something that comes from the statistics, because is more frequent to have bullying at the younger age. So before.
Yeah,
16.
but this is not what I meant. Why could be induced to be a bully male gender? Well, I understand. This is something that should be.
Yeah. If may I know you ask Elena, because at young age, all the, let's say, social and moral barriers are not enough formed. And all of us as being children, very young children, are more or less closer to the animals than to the human beings. all those ethics, morals, including the imitation, the behavior imitation, are not formed yet. So even today, we will say this is a bully, but at the very beginning, it's a natural state on not conflicted but competing. The conflict appear later on. At the beginning, it's only competing. It's not conflict. It's only compete.
Yes, Pierre, I agree with you. But my question was another one. I was provoking Elena to redefine the title of these slides, and not only risk factor, but when, who, and why. Those are the three questions coming from the free answer.
Okay.
And this is very important. And what will happen afterwards? Because low academic results can be a risk factor, but at that age, younger age, early education, there's no low academic results and no awareness about it. It can be a result of bullying or bullying. It can be more effective with the age. So that's why I'm thinking about people looking at this video later on, and there is kind of mismatching between the title and the quotation to what is written as an answer. I totally agree with you, Pirko, but also I wanted to have Elena got in a little bit deeper into it. And okay, go on, Elena, I'm sorry.
Go on with the slide, please.
Use of substances in early age is quite difficult, isn't it?
No, it's not. It's not about the early ages in general, because bullying we don't have only in the early age, but also in the adolescence. So if we can see that, considering also the possible psychological difficulties, they might use substances as self-medication. So
okay, Elena, but in your opinion, as a psychotherapist, when does bullyism starts? At which age starts?
Wow, that's a quite complex question. I mean,
and if you have any, I know what I'm asking you something that we know already. And if there is any statistic, any research showing the increasing or decreasing of bullying, new bully growing up. I mean, those starting will continue and aggregation to this attitude, behavior, it's increasing with the ages, and some effects of social effect or not. This could be very interesting to study and to research, because we already know that bullying attitude, as Pirbo mentioned, starts naturally as a kind of natural attitude and early education, 4 years old. But what is could be interesting, it's those aspects that you're mentioning here are very, very important. And how much do they impact in increasing the problem?
So your question about the age, as I told, is quite complicated, because one thing is the aggression and one thing is bullying. Because bullying is, as we said, a repetition of event. It's not just a single case. So it's a structured and repeated behavior on a victim. So it happen, yes, it can happen in an early age. What changes, why I'm saying younger age, I'm referring to some researches that now I think is the one from UNESCO, that is showing lower numbers with the increasing of the age. So we have more bullying situation at 9 to 10 years old, to 11 years old, compared then to 14 to 16. That's about the researches, the statistical researches that has been done. I don't know if that answers your question.
Well, not. But this is something that we will get deeper into it in the next meetings. I think as being a teacher and dealing with a lot of schools, when you are 14, 15, 16 years old, they already are very well able to hide away the problem and not to fight with the problem in some cases by themselves. What is more difficult is when they are very young. Very young, it's more evident. It's immediately evident that I don't want to go to school. I don't want to do something. And they demonstrate immediately there is something wrong going on. But getting older, well, there are other dynamics, but I left them for the future meetings. Okay. And victimization.
So they're considering the physical aggression. So one of the situation is being physically weaker or somehow different, having a low self-esteem and a negative self-perception. What I tried to say before about the victim is the victim that sometimes put himself or herself in the situation of being a victim, because it doesn't feel like a person able to answer in an assertive or, sure or confident way. So the victims often they don't have good social skills and usually have depression or anxiety. As I said, we also have some situation connected to the parental care. So this insecure attachment and overprotecting parenthood, or a strong parent that is intrusive and coercive, and this leads to sometimes a situation of the negative self-perception. So is the parenting situation that leads to that. As we said, the use of physical violence and a lack of communication and mental health disorder. So the being a victim or being a bully comes from as we have seen as some psychological traits, as some psychological characteristics that comes from the growing, from the environmental and the history, the personal history of the child. And this kind of family and relational problems we can find are leading to be both a victim or a bullying. What they see in the school and in the community. So if they don't have the relationship with the peers or the negative influence and what happened? Okay. And also the neighborhood. What I want to add here is a reflection about the society and the kind of relational environment that there can be in a class. If a classroom is a place where is asked to be always the first, there is a how can I say? Is a race, is a competition among the classmates, is quite likely to have bullying situation, to have this kind of behaviors, because I have to establish my power over the others. If we create in a class a welcoming environment, the bullying at the victims, they can find a place of acceptance, of being themselves or receiving love, as we were discussing before. So this kind of behavior can hide a message, a request to being seen, to being accepted. So creating a good environment can protect from these kind of risk factors. Okay.
Elena,
Yep.
may I say something? I just want to underline one idea you said, and to maybe to avoid a misunderstanding. A victim never ask, never provoke to be a victim, never ever.
Totally agree with you.
A victim, it's a person with some psychological or physiological characteristic, but never ever ask or provoke to be a victim. Never. The bullying situation, the aggression situation is a result of a victim action, ever, never. This kind of perception I met very, very often in school environment from the teacher or from the parents. He asked to, never, ever. A person become a victim not because as a direct consequence of her or his action, but because of those actions are misunderstood by the aggressor, by the bully. This is very important to underline and to avoid this misunderstanding. Even the victim have sort of a behavior, an attitude. This is not as a cognitive act. I want to be punished, to be beaten, to be I ask from your side bad words because I want to feel confident. Never, ever, never, ever. Never a person, children or adult ask to be a victim. Underline this this idea, because especially in school environment, it's often this is happened. The teacher or the parent said, it's her fault, it's his fault for being a victim. Never, ever.
No.
Absolutely.
Ever. Absolutely, you're right. I wasn't meaning that. I was just saying that they are replicating some behavioral, schemes that they have learned being a victim. So they are not able to behave in a different way.
Yes.
So yes, that's what we see from the outside.
They can imitate the behavior of their mother, which is a victim at home, but at school or the kindergarten, the girl or the boy never asked to be a victim. This I want to underline. Ever, never.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right.
I think this is also statistics. Maybe you can go backwards on point 5, that were the types, because we don't have too much time.
Yeah.
Okay. To which point should I go?
Five. The 26 slide.
26 slides.
I wanted to go to the risk factor, because we were talking about victims and bullying. So, Marian, if you want, you can continue.
Okay, I on the room I was, we talk about some of these types, so I think you know, but just to organize them in some kind, so you can be aware of which kind of bullying exists. UNESCO recognized 4, even if here there are 3 points. The 4, it recognizes physical, psychological, social, that here is included on psychological, and sexual. The physical includes direct and indirect acts, such as threatening or physical harassment. Also, it's not here, but yes, in psychological, in verbal abuse, it's about ridiculize or placing nicknames to the classmates or insult, mock some people. And social and psychological exclusion can be also direct or indirect. Direct when, as we see on some of the pictures in the slides, when you prevent someone from participating in an activity. So you do not allow to participate in an activity or remove him or her or exclude from the group. That is direct social exclusion. And indirect is ignoring, when the bully ignore the person or the contributions he or she makes to the group, or pretending they are not there, so they ignore this is indirect social exclusion. And then intimidation is also a very important kind of bullying. And other types of bullying that are maybe complementing these four are the racist bullying, when the abuse is due to the race or to the familiar origin, or the origin from the boy or girl. The homophobic bullying. I think I read 85% of these lesbian or gay or bisexual students experience some kind of bullying due to the sexual orientation. And in the room I was, it appeared the cyberbullying as a very hard act of bullying to front in the school, because it implies it's not used to happen in the school, but it affects all the others at the school. It used to happen at home or when they are away from the school, but it impacts on the school, and it's a new kind of bullying that is increasing on this time. And I think you can go to the number 7, because the rest we would see.
Well, I want to say something about it. This is not real. In every group, in every school, I've been early years is not 9 years old. It's 4 now. What has changed during the last year is that the origin, the spring of bullying starts from 4 years old, and it becomes complete at 9 to 14. I mean, it becomes aware and strategical and organized. But before, there are still the origins, the first elements quite evident of a possible attitude of the bully.
Yes, I agree. I think we can change this, because if we arrive at night, the situation is not easily to solve.
It's already over.
Yes, so maybe we can change this by ourselves.
Yeah, we will change and upload it. Okay, thank you. And to which point you want to deal with? There are still some other aspects. Okay, those are some reference. You will get reference. We didn't talk about yet about effect. This is quite important. And because if I can continue, the effect is huge, incredible, psychological, physical, sociological, and personal. It impacts on the identity, on the personal role in society, self-estimation, and moreover, it impacts on the results, academic results. It impacts on socialization element, strategies. It impacts on the plane, enjoying life, and it can lead to suicide effect or consequence. But also this is for the victim, but also for the bullies and bystander. It cannot be very, very easy to feel, to tackle this attitude, because first of all, they are discriminated. I mean, in brackets, they're taken as responsible for something they are not really totally aware. 80% of the kids, well, the bullier, and they are not aware this what they are doing is bullying at all. They think it's just a play, a game, and they are not aware of how they manifest their needs of protagonism, how do they move the group, how do they behave in group, and so on. This is a really later on effect in the middle school from 9 years afterwards, when they still know the roles and they know what they're doing. But they are not, never, in any case, they are not aware of what does it mean legally, what does it mean socially, what does it mean in the school, and the rule and the family, the effect of their acts. They know there's something wrong. They know they want to enjoy. They want to discriminate. They know they are a group. They're laughing at someone and so on, but they are not aware of what's happening in the victim and not aware of what they risking for. This is something that we can work a lot into those fields. The risks they get, and some are mentioned by these slides. To feel fear, guilty, affected by moral, discrimination in some way, even if they are very young. And they feel also punished by the family at social level, and they are looked in a certain way, they are isolated in a lot of cases. This is why the kids by themselves in that game, they were setting the bully free. And there was another game you can find on the website, robotics vs bullying.net. It's set up the bully free. It was very interesting game because they felt not only prisoner, but adopt a bullier, give him love in order to solve the problem. And children, they've been very, very smart in tackling this problem. But I think in the social skills in primary school, in middle school, we have to work a lot of the different perspective of at looking at this event when it happens, and not from social level, familiar level, legislation level, laws level, criminal level, and also the effect at psychological level. This is something should be really, but we will deal with it during this training course indeed. I don't know, well, you will have all the references, but more if you want. Do you want to add anything, Elena, or Pirvo, because you're very intervening, Pirvo, or Mariam about it?
No.
You want to add anything, to share anything before closing this meeting? We have still 9 minutes.
In our group colleague working with preschool. It's a class between kindergarten and school. That is a very interesting period because it's a period when the social behaviors are formed.
Exactly.
This is the moment for prevention of bullying. As Stefano said, it started 4 years. By 9 years, everything is fixed.
Indeed.
It's almost established in the psychological characteristic of individual. So if during the kindergarten and or preschool period, the teacher is aware about, can prevent future development. The bully is it's getting alive in this period. At 2 or 3 class, at 9 to 12 years, it's almost done. Very difficult to change this behavior, and will take longer than the period before when it was formed as such.
Absolutely.
That is the
right,
critical
Pirvo.
period in the human development.
Yeah, this is why this project works for prevention, and we don't exclude early education. Our robotic versus bullying, when it started in Italy, it started from 4 years old. to create a kind of group awareness, group rules. And the result, there was a teacher with one child with a, well, very strong, let's say very strong behavior at the beginning of the group, but with robotics and working group activities, he felt a role, a positive role, and from a negative, he became a positive leader into the group. But the robots has facilitated a lot of self-awareness of the role. So at that age, we are not working directly defining what is bullying, but defining which are the possible roles to play and how do they impact on the others. And moving to older ages, we can start to mention and to work deeper into the field.
Another final idea, if we look on the psychological characteristic as presented by my colleagues here, it's like in color, are complementary psychological characteristics. One is positive, one is negative. One is let's say we like, another we don't like. Well, working on prevention, it's changing this complementarity to turn it upside down. This is prevention in the matter of bullying, because bullying, as underlined, it's a process, it's not an act. It's a series of acts, and this is bullying. And during the prevention, you turn upside down the lack of self-esteem with strong self-esteem. It's not to reject, but to change, to turn it this way. Thank you.
Wonderful, Pirvo. Thank you much. I've been sharing on the chat the link of the Excel file where you can put X with the right column of today training course with your presence, even if we register your name and surname on in Zoom report. Only one request, please write your name and surname when you're joining our training course. And because even if you don't turn on the video, which is quite very difficult to keep on the training course without seeing faces of the persons. And I suggest you, if you can, please turn it on, at least for 20 seconds at the end of the project to say goodbye. But instead of having iPhone, someone, or only the name or a number, please your name and surname, because the system will register your name and surname and the minute of presence during the training course. So we can really set up the certificate. Thank you very much. Please, let's, before leaving, turn on your video, show your eyes in order to say goodbye to everyone. Oh, Paola, nice to see you from the center of Italy, from Abruzzi region.
A lot of faces here, unbelievable.
Oh, yes.
Instead of gray squares, we have
thank you.
Amazing.
Oh, now I see someone. Thank you, Boyan. When I see your face, I feel better. Okay. Okay, thank you very much.
Nicer in pictures.
I didn't hear you.
Nicer.
There's a lot of, okay. So, well, the slides will be uploaded on the page, and so you can look at them carefully. You can also implement them, but we are not exploring everything in a couple of hours. We gave some hints to you to explore, and of course, maybe you are very much aware about the topic, and you know much more than what we provided to you in this very, very short moment, because the main topic is robotics versus bullying, but bullying is part of our project. So I give you appointment next time, a meeting for the next time. I don't remember when, but I think quite shortly.
A couple of weeks.
A couple of weeks. Thank you, Mariam is more precise than me. And I want to thank you, Elena. And she could have been talking for hours and hours about the topic. And well, we had a lot of cases in our country, especially the cases are more frequent in town, big towns environment than in the countryside on the mountains. And this because of the social impact and the social input they receive. But also another very important things I want to add at the end, and then I give the word to our speaker for today, is how much is important the impact of mass media. Please, parental control on TV, devices, everything, because mass media are delivering a lot of very contradictory messages. I use this very polite word. So do you want to add anything, Elena, to say before leaving the group?
Well, I completely agree with you. I just give a few words about that societal, aggressive society in which we are living in. So it's a bullying society we are living in. There's no room for being different. There is no room for being, vulnerable. And so preventing bullying in the classroom means also to changing the society to being more welcoming for the diversity and more a human society. So
Okay.
Thank you to everyone.
Wait a moment. I want to tell you, if in case you are interested, tomorrow we are starting a very interesting training course about 6 years old, new pedagogical strategy based on positive educational emotion, and the target group 3, 4, 5, 6, also with educational robotics. So if you're interested into that, please let us know. My email is poloeuropa. I can write it here in the chat, and you can write me, I can add you, I can send you the link and so on. It's only 4 meetings. gmail.com. Oh. Okay, you can write me to this email, say I'm interested in the course, and it lasts only 4 meetings, and you will meet again Jurgita. We will meet again Ankara University with the Ezra, and there will be Mariam Blanco with the Castilla y León Regional Administration and us in another very, very interesting European project, and where we will teach and train teachers in order to be able to pilot some activities and strategies in those target groups 0, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and with some roles, perspective, group activities in order to verify with our methodology, assessing methodology, the impact of what you are producing, what you are organizing with the kids, and how do they enhance the level of positive educational emotions. And so for the moment, I thank you very much. And I don't know.
Thank you.
Pirvo, you want to say anything? You from Romania?
Thank you.
Okay.
See you next time. See you next time.
I'm talking to Pirvo, is a very, very old friend of mine. Mariam, do you want to add anything before leaving?
No, thank you everybody for attending this session.
Thank you indeed. We're very happy there are other countries out of our circle group and represented, and this is quite interesting. Thank you, Mary, very much. See you next time.